All right, here we go. Another stream, another day. I'm gonna hit up my buddy. Tell him I'm on. Stream appears to be in good condition. So we're just gonna trust that everything's okay. CPU is barely working on it. And I'm encrypting some videos in the meantime. So everything seems to be going good. So here's what we're doing today. What we're doing today is, we are going to write the code that will allow us to, when we add a tile, so we'll have a list of tiles here. Some of them will be for hazards, and some will be for the design of the world or whatever. But regardless, when we add them, if we're adding, say, specifically a hazard, then we'll record in a database. Well, basically, I think what the way it's going to work is we're going to end up making a related object connected to the ID of the tile, and that will spawn different things, or we're going to have it interact with the inspector over here in different ways. Hopefully, I have no idea if I can get this going. I know it's going to involve hacking the editor. So there's these two. There's the editor inspector, the inspector plugin, editor property. Yeah, there's a bunch of things in here, but we'll see here if we can make this happen. I think this is going to be a really clean way to do level editing in the future, anyways, with other things besides just this. So we shall see. And stream health. Okay. Editor inspector. Default located right hand side of the editor. Used to edit properties of the selected node. For example, you can select a node sprite. Right. Emitted when the edit button of an object has been pressed in the inspector. This is mainly used for the moat scene tree inspector. Property edit. Emitted when an edited property keyed. Okay, so let's look up tile map. Now, is there anything in the UI Okay, so we're probably going to need tile set and tile map to browse through. So this is just me sitting here quietly doing nothing. Do. This is watching someone think, basically. All right, so we're going to do function set cell. Okay, so we already have set cell. Now, let's just do a break. See, this is the only problem about coding something for an editor. I've hit it 4 times now, and it doesn't break. Hmm. Ah. If there was some way I could click these and have editor element change over here, that would get me what I want, because I want to be able to do something like this, do a dropper. So we're editing the level and we add one of these guys here. Let's pretend like this is like a bad guy area, right? And we just plop it out. Well, if we do the dropper on pick tile. So if we were to pick this tile, then I want some element that says, it could be anywhere. It could be down here at the bottom. But essentially a new toolbar to be like, okay, for the thing that you've selected, here are the options that you can change for it. So because I think that for us to be able to bust out levels, to make a bunch of levels, we need to be able to put the hazards and things on the screen and change the certain things about them if we feel we need to. Or we don't. We have the unique options for each hazard be its own tile. That's another way to do it. But I feel like, for instance, if we have something that emits enemies and we wanted to do it in a certain, like okay, so here's an example. Like in Mario, you have something that shoots out fireballs automatically, or like the bombs, and you want to change how often that happens. That kind of thing. Okay, so these would be main screen plugins are these things up here. Okay, so that's not what we're doing. Inspector plugins. Inspector doc support custom plugins to create your own widgets for editing properties. This is it. This tutorial explains how to use the Edit Inspector plugin and Editor property classes to write such plugins with the example of creating a custom value editor. Okay, this is exactly what I want. To actually connect to into the inspector, we will create an Editor Inspector plugin class. This script provides the hooks to the inspector. Thanks to this class, the editor will call the functions within the Editor Inspector plugin while it goes through the process of building the UI for the inspector. The script is used to check if we should enable ourselves for any object that is currently in the inspector, including any resource that is embedded. Once enabled, Editor Inspector plugin has methods that allow for adding editor property nodes or just custom control nodes to the beginning and end of the inspector for that object, or for overriding or changing existing property editors. Can handle. Here you can specify which object types, classes, should be handled by this plugin. For example, if the plugin is specified to your player class, defined with class _ name myPlayer, you can do return object is myPlayer. And this example will support all objects, so we just return true. Here you can specify the object types, classes, should be handled by this plugin. Okay. Parse property. We will handle properties of type integer. Next, we define the actual editor property custom value editor that we want to instantiate to edit integers. This is a custom control. We can add any kinds of additional nodes to make advanced widgets to embed in the inspector. The inspector doc supports custom plugins to create your own widgets for editing properties. Okay. Okay, plugins, add-ons, new folder. Hey, Sagit, how's it going? I might be in over my head with what I'm attempting to do here. We'll see. Let me know if I said your name wrong. I'll just do it by hand then. Tile map object. Editor. Oh, I can spell. Tile map object editor. What is it not like about what I'm doing? Create. Before starting, create a new empty project wherever you want to. This will serve as a base. So I have to have the project base. New folder. Or the folder base. Inspector. Let's just call it that. Okay. So I'm going to create a another inspector element so that when I'm in a tile map and I lay a tile down and select that tile on the tile map, I can edit some values that affect that tile map. What I mean to say is, so if this is a game, you know, it's a Pac-Man clone, but it's going to be a bit more than that. But if you want to create hazards on a level, you lay the tile out, and then you have it. Hey, I have some custom properties based off of the tile ID and certain things like that that you can change. So that's the goal. Tile map. What was it? Object editor. Oh, okay. So if I do quote like that, and then plugin .gd. There we go, Matthew Schultz. Let's do a version 1.0. Why not? There we go. Okay. That's why it had that. Okay. And here's our plugin. Okay. So let's go back to making screen plugins. Spatial Gizmo plugins. Which ones are these? Spatial Gizmo plugins are used by the editor and custom plugins to define the gizmos attached to any kind of spatial node. In this tutorial, I'll show two main approaches. Oh, these are the... Okay, that's not what we want. Inspector. Okay. Just like making plugins, we'll start out by creating a new plugin, editing a plugin.config file created, and start with our editor plugin. However, instead of using add custom node, extends editor plugin var plugin enter tree. Add custom node, we'll use, or add control to dock, we'll use add inspector plugin. Okay. So we'll just make this var here for some reason. Fine by me. I'm going to preload the GD script I wrote. The plugin name is tile map object editor. And we're going to call it plugin. Raise add-ons. Tile map object. What's wrong with this? Can't preload itself. Okay. So the tutorial here is wrong. If this works. And then we'll do remove. Get rid of the pass. It's funny that the error message is more up to date than it. I guess it's not that unheard of. Okay. To actually connect into the inspector, we create an editor inspector class. This class provides the hooks. Oh, okay. So we do need this. Maybe we would do this first and then tell it to load in the tutorial so that we don't have an error message that it's not telling us that we should expect. What do I know? So we'll create a new script and we'll call it tile map object editor, because that's a mouthful. Creates, and then we'll preload it here. There we go. Add inspector plugin. Okay, and then we'll go in here and we're just going to copy this up and paste it in. Just to get us kickstarted. Extends editor inspector plugin, which is add property. My editor is not this in the current scope. Next, we'll define the actual editor property custom value. To actually connect into the inspector, we create a editor inspector plugin class. This script provides hooks to the inspector thanks to this class. The editor will call the functions within the editor inspector plugin while it goes through the process of building the UI for the inspector. This script is used to check if we enable ourselves, if we should enable, okay. Once enabled, editor inspector plugin has methods that allow for editing property nodes, not or just custom control nodes at the beginning or end of the inspector for that object, or overriding or changing existing property editors. Next, we define the actual editor property custom value editor that we want to instantiate to edit integers. This is a custom control. Okay. So we'll call this editor property. Okay, so let's enable and re-enable our editor. Come on. I'm just going to try to reload, see if it... You know what would be incredibly helpful in this tutorial is to just show a screenshot of what they're talking about. I could go a long way. Because, see, I don't know if I need to call this. It says this is a custom control that we can add any kinds of additional nodes to make advanced widgets to embed in the inspector. Where? The inspector doc supports custom plugins to create your own widgets for editing properties. This tutorial explains how to use editor inspector plugin and editor property. Classes to write such plugins with the example of creating a custom value editor. And the custom value is... Otherwise, we'll add an editor slider control, which is the same that the inspector already uses for integer and float. If you want to put the editor below the property name, use set bottom editor spin. Otherwise, to put it in line with the property, use add child spin. I love that this basically does nothing. The demo that they have, okay, I understand it now, but it literally changes nothing. And can I even... So breakpoints don't work on it. How are you supposed to troubleshoot editor stuff if the breakpoints aren't going to do anything? Okay, so that's not what I need because this is to do custom properties. So we want to go back to plugins. And I'm wondering if it's just editor plugins. Making plugins. Installing. Well, out of curiosity, inspector, what happens when I search that? I want to create a custom tab or something. Making plugins. Plugin is a great way to... Yes. Okay. Can be made entirely in GDScript and standard scenes. Okay. Even without reloading the editor. Okay. Unlike modules, you don't need CISO. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. While this makes plugins less powerful, there's still many things you can do with them. Note that a plugin is similar to any scene you can already make, except that it's created using a script to add editor functionality. This tutorial guide will blah, 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 the script file, blah, blah, blah. A custom node. Sometimes you want certain behavior in mini nodes, such as a custom scene or a control that can be reused. Instancing is helpful in a lot of cases, but sometimes it can be cumbersome, especially when you're using mini. Yes. A good solution to this is to make a plugin that adds a node with a custom behavior. To create a new node type, you can use the function add custom type from the editor plugin class. This function can add new types to the editor, nodes, or resources. However, before you can create the type, you need a script that will act as the logic for the type. While that script doesn't have to use the tool keyword, it can be added so the script runs in the editor. For this tutorial, we'll create a simple button that prints a message when clicked, and for that we'll need to extend a script that extends from button, and it could also extend from base button if you prefer. Okay, so that's custom buttons. That's great. And it even can spit to output. That's good. Sometimes you need to extend the editor and add tools that are always available. An easy way to do this is with a dock plugin. Docks are just scenes based on a control. So they're created in a way similar to using a GUI scenes. Creating a custom dock is done just like a custom node. Create a new plugin, blah, 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 blah. Then create custom dock, fill it in with a template. Okay. Since we're trying to add a custom dock, we need to create the contents of the dock. This is nothing more than a standard Godot scene, right? Blah, 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 blah. My dock. Checking the results. Now it's time to check the results of the work. Open the project settings. Click on the plugin tabs. The plugin should be on. You can also see the plugin is inactive in the status column. The dock should become visible. Before you close the setting windows, you should now have custom dock. Okay. So they call what they're calling inspector nodes. So every one of these tabs is an inspector, but the tabs themselves are called docks. Okay. And then I'm assuming, yes, we can move the docks. Can I move this over here? Okay. I didn't even know that. All right. So I want to do a custom dock. This is what I want. Okay. All right. Relax. We got it. We're at 45 minutes just to mother of Moses. We're going to delete this. And we're going to do this. Now, okay. The scene. Okay, so we'll make a new scene. Do we call it a user interface? Okay, so it must be a control Okay. And there's our scene. Delete that. And let's copy the path. Okay. And you select a dock position and define the control. Add to dock UI slot left. Project settings. Let's just disable and re-enable the plugin. There it is. Hallelujah. Okay. Now what do we have as far as choices are concerned from add control editor plugin dock change? Template we've seen a custom dock must use control and control add to dock editor plugin add control to the editor plugin. So we want editor plugin from the editor plugin. So those are our bad boys right there. This is our gateway. The real question becomes, how do we talk back and forth between these? We shall see. Add control to dock and dock slot. That's the right. What do we do? Dock slot left UL. Let's see what happens when we do right UL. Project settings, disable, enable. There we go. Okay. So, how do I, why is it in both now? Editor. Manage editor features. No. Editor layout. I think I might actually have to quit and reopen. Let's try that. Let's close tile set. All this to just get something on the screen, but this is my life, and I'm learning. Yes.
Can you do me a favor?
There we go. All right, so let's go back to our add-ons, tile map object editor. There's our scene. There's our thing. Now, what's set the name of it? Be right back. Oh, it's taking the scene name. It's taking the parent name. Test. Yeah, okay. So we'll call this tile map object editor. Okay, save that. And now if we go and re-enable it, there it is. That's kind of a long-winded way of saying it. But for now, that should do. So now let's go back to the board here. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I know how to do that. Editor plugin. Plugins are used by the editor to extend functionality. Okay, so let me go here. Remove controls from docs. Doc free. So that's just to unload the memory. Click me. So in theory, all I'm really doing is working in the scene. And then I can add scripts and things like that to it. But my question is, is there a way that I can, because here's what I'd like. I would like to be able to, when you do this, little pick tile button, and then you click. It's processing some information here. I would like to not have to click over here every single time. However, if we were to put this at the bottom here, maybe, then when you click through these things, I could, in theory, have this update based off of what you've selected. Maybe. I just don't know how to find out what you've selected. Plugins are used by the editor to extend functionality. Most common types of plugins are those which are given a node or resource type. Import plugins and export plugins. Yeah, see the editor scripts to add functions to the editor. Scripts extending. That's what we got here, right? Now we're doing editor plugin. Get scene. Base script that can be used to add extension functions to the editor. Scripts extending this class and implementing its run method can be executed from the scripts editor's file run. Or by pressing controls while the editor is running. This is useful for adding custom in-editor functionality to get from. Okay, so I don't care about that. See. Oh, this is just a. Okay. Most common times. Okay. Okay, so good to know. I can, in theory, add stuff to this editor if I so felt like it. Get window layout. Gets the GUI layout of the plugin. This is used to save the project's editor layout when QSave layout is called or the editor layout was changed, for example, changing the position of a dock. Okay. Forward get editor interface. Returns the editor interface object that gives you control over Godot's editor window and its functionality. Okay, so we don't want editor script. Editor interface. Editor interface gives you control over the Godot's editor window. It allows customizing the window, saving and reloading scenes, rendering mesh previews, inspecting and editing resources. Provides access to editor settings, editor file system, editor resource preview, script editor, the editor viewport, and information about scenes. This class should not be instantiated. Right, we access as a singleton. Edit resource. Get editor interface. Control over Godot's editor window. This, right? Right? Or is the entire window considered the editor? Lots of bad verbs. I don't know what does editor mean? What's the verb mean? The editor's used everywhere. How the F am I supposed to know? Okay. Editor interface. Turns the editor interface controls. I just want to be able to tell I need to get a signal when a homie does this. Just tell me when somebody does this. I guess I could. Mm-hmm. Okay. Emitted. Here we go. Signals. We got it. Okay. Once again, an hour in. I have a breakthrough right at the end, and I'm going to stop. Dang it. And I still don't, I'm trusting myself on this. I'm just going down a rabbit hole here. But I know what I'm trying to do. And I think I need to change the name of the stream to not say something about Pac-Man. Okay. Where do I make some notes here? So, all right. Because I've had so many ideas. For instance, I want to write a plugin where when you write this, you get a list of to-dos. Now, let me just check the asset library and search to-do and see what comes up. Because maybe somebody's already done it. To-do manager. Plugin. Yes. Somebody's already done it. To-do doc. Plugin for similar to the lowest now C# support to do management. Yeah, sure. We're downloading it. We're installing it. No, I don't want any of this. That's presumptuous. I don't want that. My goodness. Very presumptuous. Okay. To-do manager. So now we go enable the to-do manager. We got a little to-do guy down here. Somebody's already done the work. That's great. Thank you. Go back to board. Go into our script and look at that. Booyah. Example GD. Where are you coming from? To do this is a hack. This is any hack format will do. So I'm presuming you're not being loaded anywhere. So I will just delete that. You don't do anything anyways. So let's just delete you. Sweet Home Alabama. Boom. Okay, cool. Yes. Now I can write some comments in the dang code. Okay. Well, not write comments, but just have some to do. Right. Editor. Right. Doc plugin for editing tile map extended objects. And then we're gonna use control. Use this guy. This guy. This guy. And I think we need to go one back. Editor interface. Yeah. Bunch of classes we got to use. But with that, I should tomorrow hopefully be able to start writing the plugin that it is going to do what I need it to do. Hopefully, I'm not getting myself into too much trouble. I suppose what I could do to have a victory this week, because I can get the AI going. I can get the AI going. And I suppose what I should do is just write the code for the AI. So I can get the character, I can manually put in the AI enemies, write the code for them, and just get it working. Because I can get that going. And so that way it's like, okay, I'm getting a victory there, but I'm also working on the level editor at the same time. So I'm sort of splitting my tasks out, but I think that we got to have a win every week on this, and I'm confident that this editor thing is going to work. It's just that it's going to take a little bit of work to code, and so I don't want to. I don't want to have a win. I don't want to miss out on a win this week, especially because the guy I'm working with on this, he's made some progress, and I have not so far. Although I'm sure that we both feel the same way about our progress, that it's progress, but it doesn't feel like we've done anything because all we've done is created more work for ourselves. But anyways, whoever's watching, have a good night, and I'll be on again.